one to test my luck. Finger on the trigger, I ain't never giving up.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, down to you. 7 fouls and 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripping, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, down to you. 7 fouls and 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripping, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, down to you. 7 fouls and 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripping, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
Hello all and welcome in here to WHF Tier 1. You're joined by me, WHF Faro, and Alfie in the comms box for this evening's action. We're here in round 6, right before the mid-season break, although we've already kind of had a mid-season break. But anyway, say hello, Alfie.
Hello.
And technically this is the halfway point in the championship, but we had a break week last week, and in 2 weeks' time we'll have another break week, just to avoid the actual IRL races. Last week was Miami, and this week the Tier 1 drivers head to Miami for 29 laps after this short qualifying session. And I should actually get the standings up, because I've not looked at the standings that much this season, because I just know Trixie's winning. Last time out, Trixie won in Bahrain in a bit of crazy circumstances. Cookie dominated the whole race, and then a late safety car came out lap 26. One of the McLarens crashed out, and that essentially ruined Cookie's chances at another win and closing in the championship battle to Trixie. Cookie currently trails in the championship by 31 points to Trixie, so Trixie can miss a race and will still be in the championship lead over Cookie at least, whereas Star 23 points behind Trixie, so Star definitely still in the fight. Nis is just a point behind Cookie. Meanwhile, Rio Harris down in P5 on 50 points. He's 23 points behind Nis, so it seems like we have a 4-horse race here in WHF Tier 1. Although Rio reserving for Ferrari today, so he's obviously going to win because you have the Ferrari on, and it just makes things easier.
Yeah, you get half a second pace advantage when you're in the Ferrari. New engine regs.
Yep. And that's why I keep spinning the tyres, because I'm getting too much torque through the rear. I'm just not expecting it, you know. But Ty, the first driver out in a lap, former Tier 2 champion, and up in Tier 1, I believe his best finish of the season was a P4, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. I'm going to zoom in here in this graphic. Yeah, I think he got P4 in the opener of the season. And that was his best finish. Currently in Tier 1. And can him in Berlin get some good finishes here. Berlin's had some good qualifyings, but Berlin's been one of the most unlucky drivers in WHF. Has been here 2 seasons and hasn't had much brilliant results to show for them so far. Just keeps being involved in the drama as Star with a 25.7 sets the benchmark. Cookie just starting a lap. We've got Zeno is the new debutant here in the Mercedes. Ollie Bean reserving in the Haas. And I was trying to find Nis. Well, Nis is in the pits. We've got Trixie out in the lap as well. I think we'll go on board with TJ, who's heading into the slow section. As D Summers says, all I'm hearing is excuses. And speaking of excuses, TJ crunches the inside wall like we seen Isaac Hajar do last week. And TJ showing his absolute skill out there as Ollie Bean into P2. And a very good qualifying so far for the Tier 2 driver reserving for Haas this evening. As Thorian Mallard and Hochin says, wet race will be good. Who is calling a wet race?
Please don't be a wet race, I beg.
And Nis, I've just seen Nis say, does it say it's raining for you lot too? So I'm expecting it might be a wet race. Gordon up to P5 does a 26.0. Berlin had done a 26.5. Cookie now heading into the final corner. And funnily enough, I had said to Rio before the race to do some wet practice. Has he done wet practice? Not sure. All I know about Rio is that he's gone to no line as Cookie does a 25.4, sets the benchmark, as Trixie next across the line with a 25.1, and our championship leader setting the benchmark in Cookie's home Grand Prix. For those of you who don't know, Cookie is from Florida, so he's got it. Oh my god. Rio, turn the line back on. I just seen Rio have a horrific lockup into turn 11, and yeah, just let's turn the line back on just for one race. As Akko goes P4, a 10th behind Star, and Akko's been very strong this season. I would say his strongest season in his WHF career, currently sitting P7 in the standings, just behind Gordon. As Rio looking to... Oh, actually just behind Michael Louis. Jesus, Gordon's down in P11. What is Gordon at? As Rio goes P6 with a 26.562. And Zeno on debut. Yet to set a lap here. He's the next driver on a push. We'll double check Ty or Berlin's not on. Yeah, they're on in laps. Akko on an in. Cookie and Trixie both on in. So we'll go on board with Zeno, who making his WHF debut today, reserving for Mercedes. And can Zeno put a good lap time on the board? I think he's backed out of this lap. Yeah, he has. He's recharging the battery, so maybe he might go again. Otherwise, he might be on an in lap. Maybe he made a mistake on his lap that he's not happy with. As yellow flag out, and I think Rio may be giving LWB a tow, although LWB is on a outlap, Rio on an in. As D Summers in the chat says, TJ's lucky he didn't do the full Isaac Hadjar cosplay there. As Nis currently P4 in the standings, just a point behind Cookie. And I gotta be honest, if you would have told me, guess who's going to be in the lead of the championship at this stage in the calendar, I would have guessed either Cookie or Nis, and both of them are down in P3 and P4. Star and Trixie have avoided the drama better than these two, and these two have been in the wars so far this season. I think Trixie may potentially win the championship just by avoiding the drama. We've seen Trixie, especially in Singapore, we've seen Cookie, Nis and Rio have a big crash at the final corner that allowed Trixie to have a dominant victory, just cleared off down the road and no one bothered him for the remainder of the race. And Nis has, I think he's yet to get a win this season, if I'm not mistaken, which is surprising. He had 5 wins last season, so surprising to see him not on the top step of the podium as of yet.
Definitely very surprising, as I've seen Ness have space a lot throughout in a lot of different leagues. He's one very quick driver, loves to be that aggressive one that tries to force moves, but those moves I've never seen him get in trouble for. Absolutely very nice racing from him. But that lap, a 1:25.5, even with 2 collisions with the wall in sector 2, is definitely something Nissan can improve on, and will definitely be looking to win his second lap.
Oh, never mind. I got a bit confused there. I just seen Ledgeman put an ollie to reserve for Williams in Tier 1 Qatar, and I was like, what? And then I think I didn't read the Qatar thing, because I was looking at the screen to see that, oh my lord, LWB up to P2. That lap came out of nowhere. But I was looking at the screen and I was like, I'm pretty sure Ollie's in a Haas, mate. But then I was like, oh, he means Qatar. So that's my mistake. But LWB made his debut last time out, had a decent result in Bahrain. And now here in Miami, could he be one of the drivers that looks to try and win here for Ferrari?
Definitely something very nice to see. Oh, sorry, Arrow.
I think TJ is on a lap, but has a Haas in his way. So not sure he's going to be too happy about that. But he is a second and a half down, so maybe he's not an actual push, but maybe he had to back out because of the Haas in his way of Ollie Bean. Or was it Ollie? I mean, they're both together, so it could have been either of the Ollies. The fact that they're in the same car doesn't help.
This, I think Ollie will be giving the other Ollie a toe here. As with them being so close.
Yeah, it does
He
seem that
definitely will
way.
get in the way of this lap.
Although-
Oh no, Ollie has just set his first lap of a 26.8. So something's definitely going on here.
Yeah, I think Ollie Bean is on a lap, so Ollie's just started his lap probably a bit too close to his teammate. Anywho, we'll see Cookie, who's 4/10 to the good as we heads into the final corner. And Cookie could even maybe sneak into the 24s here if he can nail his exit. And as he rounds the final corner up to the line, and it's a 24.655. Cookie in Florida in his home Grand Prix, absolutely blowing them out of the water. And can anyone else try and even conceive a 24? Trixie starting his lap, can he get a 24? He's invalid through the first sector. Star will be the next round, but has an Aston potentially in his way. Welcome in, Lanky, into the stream. Oh, and Star, big wobble through sector 1. And possibly some dirty air from the Aston ahead of him, of Ty Clear, who's on a lap, might have hurt his chances. Meanwhile, Zeno yet to get a lap on the board and is still invalid as Thory rounding the final corner in the Alpine. Oh, what a big slide on the rear from Thory as he tried to get the power down as Trixie's retired. Oh no! Oh no! Trixie's bended at the Hadjar corner! Oh no! I do not believe what we've just seen. Trixie, one of the favourites for pole, the championship leader, has bended at Hadjar corner.
That's been way too aggressive there. I think Cookie almost just picked up a puncture then with the debris flying around. Just had to try and maneuver through. Trixie will definitely be very annoyed with himself, but I don't think they will drop that many positions with such a strong lap they have set. But with this track getting grippier and grippier as the time trickles down, I would not be surprised if we see just a few drivers jumping ahead of them.
I think Rio has more front wing damage there, so I think he must have hit Trixie as Trixie was sidewards across the track there after he hit the wall. So unfortunate for Rio, maybe his lap attempt is gone after making contact with the VCarb driver, but that could be big for Trixie because not only could he lose pole, but he could lose a couple more positions. The likes of Nis, LWB, Star, maybe even Echo could snatch a position from him here. And we'll follow Star as he's heading through on a lap. As Ledgeman says, IDK, if TJ impeded Star, well, I'm sure the stewards will have a look at it if Star has his stream up. As hopefully there was no impeding, because as fun as it is to hand out penalties, I don't want to be doing it all the time, you know what I mean?
It's Ollie Bean now coming out on for a lap just behind Zeno. Now it's only 3 drivers out on track with, I think that's the Ferrari of Rio. Yeah, that's Rio coming out now as well. Going out a bit preemptively, but they want the clean air and they want to get their laps in as soon as possible before the end of qualifying, which may be the right play with how congested it can get.
Star heads through the final corner. And can he get an improvement? But no, it doesn't seem like it. He's coming into the box. We'll have enough time to get a new set of boots on and go again. But Zeno, Ollie Bean and Rio, the next drivers out there. Rio, I think, definitely wants a better time. He's had contact with either the wall twice or the wall once, and with Trixie's stricken car a second time too. 3 front wings needed for this track. And can Rio improve here? Can Zeno finally settle up turn the board? I'm sure he doesn't want to be starting from the back. Does he have more pace in hand? We'll have to wait and see. But I'll get the chat up here just in case someone lags out and needs an invite. As thank you for the subscription, Ledgeman. Subscribed with Prime for 10 months. As we'll go on board with Zeno on his final run here in this qualifying session. As big lock of the rears through turn 1. And hopping the curbs at turn 2 and 3. Wide, almost into the wall at Leclerc corner. I think we're just going to start naming new corners after people who've crashed there. And this corner is also Leclerc corner, although maybe 2022 was it when he crashed here? As Zeno now flying through the middle sector. Thank you for the follow as well, Trixie. And or maybe that's from a while ago. Maybe I've scrolled back in time. I have scrolled back in time. We did get a follow from Formula Star Wars earlier before the stream. So thank you for the follow there, as Zeno heading through this tricky tight chicane. We've seen it claim Trixie, the championship leader here, and hasn't claimed Zeno though, but Zeno rounding turn 16. Burns up the rears, trying to find some traction. And now down the back straight. Does he have the battery to burn before he heads into turn 17? And traction out of the final corner is smooth, so Zeno could get a good lap time on the board here. And Zeno up to P13 with a 26.898. Next driver around could be Ollie Bean up to P10. That's a brilliant lap for Ollie Bean. Rio Harris up by a second as he heads into the final corner. And gets good rotation through the final corner, so Rio could be looking for a big improvement here. His first no-line qualifying in a while, and up to P3! What an improvement there for Rio Harris, just 2 thousandths ahead of LWB there. As I think Nis just starting a lap, Echo just behind starting a lap as well. Who else do we have out there on a lap? Cookie just starting a lap. Star starting, Echo starting, Berlin. Gordon in P9, 4/10 to the good as he exits the final corner. Just behind Mallard, who's about to start a lap. Gordon up to the line, gets to P6, the 25.616 as TJ in behind starting his final run has made the line. We've got a Ferrari of LWB rounding. Oh, the turn 17 clips the wall on the outside, and LWB now up to the line. Where can he go? Improves by just under 2/10, gets into P3, and it's both Ferraris on the second row here as tie clear into P11 as we've got a yellow flag out for one of the Mercedes. I think that's Zeno on an in lap. We've got Ollie Bean going slow as well. Who is next around? Stars invalid. I think we might have Thori around next, who's questionably cut the inside of turn 17 there. But we'll let him away with it, I guess, as Thori up to the line doesn't improve. We've got Cookie next. Oh, actually, that's the other, the V-carb of Nis with a 24.8. Gets into P2. Good improvement there from Nis. Who is next round? Berlin to P7. Gets 1,000th ahead of Star. Big improvement there as Ollie, half a second of the good here in the Haas, crosses the line into P11 as Mallard invalid as well. I think that might be everyone. TJ's invalid as well. But Cookie on pole ahead of Nis. Next it's Trixie, followed by LWB, Rio, Harris, Gordon, Berlin, Star, Echo, TJ is your top 10. Then it's Ollie, tie clear, Ollie Bean, Zeno, Thori and Mallard. And that is your order for this evening's action.
Definitely a very exciting quality here at Miami. Nisev was up about 6.8 tenths coming through sector 2, doing better for his 2 taps they did on his initial lap. That's a very nice lap from him, just 1.5 tenths away from Cookie. Very impressive lap by him, and who knows where Trixie would have been if they did not catch the wall.
Trixie could have been one of the favourites for pole. He had sent the benchmark there, but was unable to get another lap time on the board after his collision with the wall. But Alfie's put a prediction in the chat, and he says a Haas 1-2, 100% chance of being correct. So we will wait for Ollie from P11 and Ollie Bean from P13 to cut the way through the field and score that 1-2 for Haas. You know what? I think I will eat my shirt if that happens. And it's a pretty thick material shirt, so it's going to be a tough shirt to get through. But here, maybe if I put it in a blender or something, I can eat it over the space of a week. But there you have it. Cookie on pole in his home Grand Prix. Can he convert here in Florida, aka Miami? I don't actually know if he's from Miami, I just know he's from Florida. I know Kevin, one of our former champions, is... Oh, and it is rainy. It is going to be a wet Grand Prix. And I've told the drivers when to ready up. Should be ready up in 3 minutes' time. Hopefully no one readies up early. But a wet oil Miami Grand Prix. And we are seeing more of the storm that the F1 drivers missed last weekend. So this is basically the scenario if they had raced in the storm. And will the drivers be able to navigate it well in the wet? It might be tricky. 29 laps in Miami, which is probably one of the heavier degradation circuits. Really tricky left-hander in Sector 1. The left-hander of 6, 7 and 8 burns through your outside right tyres. So who will win here? Alfie, do you have any predictions other than Haas 1-2?
I'm going to say Trixie sends it on this Ev, and there's going to be like a collision between the two, because Trixie will definitely be annoyed at himself with that DNF in the middle of qualifying and will want to try and make up for it, as they probably think they have the pace to win here.
Well,
today. I mean,
it's an interesting theory, although knowing Nis is the supreme leader of VCARB, just like Mbappe is the supreme leader of Real Madrid, I think Nis might fire Trixie, despite him leading the championship. If Trixie takes out Nis at any point, I think that might be the final straw, and Nis may fire him and sign someone else. But I think Trixie knows not to come close to his teammate in order to make a collision. But both of them will try and work together to beat Cookie, although they did struggle in Vegas to do it. Cookie won one of his home Grand Prix in dominant fashion, was able to gap the VCARB drivers, and then in Bahrain, it's more of the same happened, although the late safety car did definitely benefit Trixie, but I'm sure Cookie wants to bounce back here with a win, and if you can avoid any silly penalties, a late safety car shouldn't hold him back. I think in Bahrain, if he hadn't have picked up that silly track limits penalty, he would still have picked up the victory there. But the drivers will be readying up very shortly, so hold on to your hats, ladies and gents, for 29 laps around the Miami circuit here in the USA, as we will have the 5 red lights on in a wet Miami. And they're out as the drivers head down to turn 1. Cookie and Nis with an even start. Nis on the inside gets better traction through the second phase. They're still side by side as around the outside, Nis trying to still find some room. Cookie around the outside trying to hold on to it. Nis desperately, oh, they're way looking, oh my god, Nis almost around. Trixie going to get through on his teammate, as LWB going to get a great vantage point of this battle. Rio in behind his Ferrari teammate for this evening, and Rio finds LWB napping and gets through on the inside as the Sauber of Gordon now down the inside of LWB, and Rio had to back out. Oh, and LWB and Gordon coming together, a little bit of contact between these two. Star gets through it, Berlin in the wall! Oh. Berlin in the wall, and a safety car is out. Berlin in the wall after contact. Is in the background, the other Aston in the wall after Thorey got on the brakes. Taya to avoid the Alpine. And it's a lap 1 safety car in this wet... this wet Miami. Yeah, a couple drivers... couple drivers there with damage. I think it was Berlin, Ty, and Ollie being horrific evening for Aston Martin will already be demoted down to the back. LWB lost out to his teammate for this evening, but Rio, being a reserve, I don't think he cares about Ferrari and the team. He's more caring about himself and wants to score the most points he can for himself here. But I don't think we'll see many people into the pit other than the drivers who are fixing front wings. And Echo actually has wing damage as well. Will we see him into the box? I think Echo's the type of driver to keep on driving. And yeah, Echo's going to stay out here. Who's going to come in? Berlin definitely in. Ty definitely in as well. And Ollie Bean as well. Now it's a very slow pit entry, 80 kph in Miami, so you got to make sure you don't miss the entry. Zeno, the debutant for this evening in the Mercedes, also into the box for a new front wing. But a lap 1 safety car here in Miami as Star and Echo momentarily swapping in the midfield.
Very hectic start of the race of everybody trying to go through moves. You can definitely see the difference in pace with some people in the wet compared to the dry. The Echo tries to go for a move past Star, but Star, I think, has some on the brakes due to the Gordon, LWB and Rio all battling together. That means Echo, that's how Echo lost their front end plate. By the looks of it, I think Zeno caught Ollie into a wheel lock.
I think Echo had it before, or maybe it was during the safety car, but he definitely had it before turn 17 on the previous lap, so, or maybe he did get under the safety car. Either way,
he lost it on the long left-hander where Gordon sits down the inside of LWB. I saw an end plate fire off and a sec check it was Echo's. Oh, Star was slamming into the rear now of LWB.
Yeah,
very, very slow through the chicane.
The drivers are a bit too close for my liking under the safety car. They're all putting their front wings at risk here, and I mean, you really don't want to do it, although everyone trying to get some temp in the tyres as we see LWB weaving, but how much success does weaving actually do on this game? It doesn't seem like it does a whole lot. On previous games it would have helped a little bit, but on this game doesn't seem like anything really helps the tyre temps. Although we have seen the esports drivers do the weird weaving where it's like the wheel is broken kind of weaving, where they're weaving that rapidly it looks like it's not even real. But
you might have to try that, Ara. Just let go of your wheel, just let it shake everywhere. That'll probably work.
I'll probably end up in the wall very quickly. Ledgeman says he literally has to flick it like a cart to get warmth. No matter what I do, even if I'm like spamming the left right, it just doesn't do anything. But Cookie trying to weave here. Cookie, one of the only real controller players that I would say is quick on this game. There's only like 2 others I know. Everyone else here is inside the top 7 is on wheel, Echo on pad, TJ on wheel, Ollie on pad, Mallard on pad, Thori on wheel, Berlin, I am not sure, neither would Zeno, Ollie Bean is on wheel, and I think Ty is on wheel as well. Although Ty could be on pad, I'm not quite sure. But you can see a wheel on this game, unfortunately, is a lot more OP, but for some reason Cookie just has the magic touch. And despite pad not being great in this game, Cookie is still great nonetheless. And Alfie, I'm not sure you know, but back when we started the league in 2020, it was called SSR, and back then Cookie was dominating races. So Cookie has been dominating races since I started my league racing career. So I don't know how long Cookie's been league racing, but back when I was joining SSR as a tier 3 driver, Cookie was already winning races in tier 1. But will Cookie be another season? Can he win his 7th here? Currently sits P3 in the standings with that man Trixie behind him, leading the championship ahead of Star and Nis. Nis in P3, in P4 in the standings, and Star P2 in the standings, currently down in P7 as Cookie has decided to go now. We'll follow Trixie. Can Trixie nail his exit out of turn 17? The tyres are going to struggle here on this restart. Has anyone been caught napping? I don't really believe so. It seems everyone's gotten away well. I think Echo and Star have got the 2 best getaways under this restart, but not close enough to going for moves. LWB a little bit deep. Oh, and almost spins it at turn 2. And LWB seems to be the driver struggling most in these conditions, as Rio actually is already outside a second from the podium. As Gordon now putting some pressure on, as LWB goes very wide, opens up the door to Star for a switchback here. Star in the Williams going to try and poke his nose in through the left-hander of turn 8, and can't Star get his way through. LWB still around the outside as they're wheel banging through the exit of turn 8 as they head through the weaving turn 9. Can LWB pull alongside? Is in the background. Echo going to try and find his way through. As Echo's going to make this 3 wide as we head down to turn 11. And can Echo win it out? Echo and the McLaren, as Echo and Star come together, and LWB gets round the outside, but Echo trying to force his way through, and Star and Echo coming together. Echo's going to have to back out through the left-hander here, and Star holding on to P7, but battling ferociously here under the restart. And LWB just about holding on to P6, but Star showing why he's P2 in the standings. Wants to get a move on, trying to get a move on the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Gordon, who hasn't had the best of seasons, back in P5. He's looking relatively strong though. Has Rio Harris for company. And can Gordon put some pressure on the Ferrari driver? As Cookie sets the fastest lap. Both V-Carbs still in tow. A Star now on the rear of LWB. LWB goes defensive, Star to the outside. Looking for the switchback. LWB covers him off, but around the outside can Star find a way through as a little bit of contact. And Star leaves the road there And can he get through as LWB trying to find some traction around the outside? Side by side they still go. Star around the outside trying to stick it in here, and Star finally gets through at turn 5 as LWB all over the rear of the Williams, but the Williams has finally won out here. But can he nail the exit out of turn 8 to get back through in the Williams? These two battling absolutely ferociously, as in the background Echo seemed to brush the wall almost following this battle, as Star seems to have that move cemented, as Echo looking on the rear of the Ferrari as Mallard's left the session, trying to get Mallard back into the session. Rare that we see Mallard have a disconnect. Oh, and Thori.
My. Dino tries to look past the seals being held up by Mallard's AI and just almost slams him into the wall. I don't think Seal was expecting the move there, and just closes the gap, and that's just led to a little bit of contact between them. Hopefully not much tyre wear on the Alpine's car, because that might lead to a pit stop.
At turn 17, we've got Gordon and Rio side by side, and Gordon gets through into P4 as Cookie sets another fastest lap. Rio now down to P5 as Echo and LWB right in the battles here. Echo trying to find a way through on the Ferrari, but LWB holds on to that position. Rio, oh my lord, has missed turn 1 by quite a margin, and Gordon with an easy switchback, and Rio, you can see that's a man who is new to no line. Missed turn 1 by about 10 metres or so, but thankfully Rio's still in the race, at least for a Ferrari team captain is happy still in the race. But struggling there as Echo pokes his nose on the rear of LWB, and that'd have been a risky place to try and make the move stick there, but Echo really putting the pressure on LWB. He seems to be the driver, at least in this lead pack, who's struggling the most on these inters. As we go further down the pack, we've got Zeno closing on the rear of Berlin, as Mallard did get back in again, and I think he's in control of his car now, as Zeno and Thori chase after Berlin, and Berlin with a massive send, as Zeno looking round the outside of Berlin here if he can try and get a move, but we're very close. We've got very close trains. Mallard leading from P11 down to P16. A reminder for all of you that are new to watching WHF, top 16 all score points, so everyone will score points as long as they finish. Meanwhile, up in the lead, Cookie has almost pulled a second to Trixie. It won't really matter too much because neither has DRS, but it at least shows that Cookie is finding his groove here. Sets another fastest lap as Nis counters with his fastest lap. And what we could potentially see is Trixie let through Nis as Zeno gets through on Berlin in the background. We've got Thori watching this along. Berlin going to try and get back through on Zeno again if he can. But Zeno holding on to P12. Berlin has a little look down the inside, but it's too little too late to try and make a move stick here.
We've got Echo now trying to just force his way past LWB. Went for a send down to turn 1 as LWB went a little bit deep, but kept position very nicely. And it's going to be one straight shot down this long straight in sector 2 now.
Yeah, Callan and McLaren finally get the move as Ollie Bean gets through on tie clear. And LWB going to cover off the inside. Echo's going to try and go the long way around the outside of the Ferrari. Brakes later, but LWB holding the inside as Echo losing the rear. And LWB gets back through again, but under a lot of pressure as the Ferrari driver must have a dry setup on or something, as we hear some crunching on the wall. Not quite sure who that was. As down the order we go, Ty and Ollie continue to battle as we get the worst camera angles known to man to try and watch this battle. As Ollie Bean does get through on tie clear. Dear me, the camera angles are getting worse. Oh my lord. The camera angle I see, Alfie, is of... it's looking at the driver's head. Why would I want to see that? I'm trying to see the racing, not what his helmet looks like. Anywho, here on lap 8 we see Rio pulling to the inside to cool his tyres. Maybe the tyres starting to overheat here already. with the Ferrari reserve today, trying to cool the tyres of Star. Makes a little mistake through turn 1, gets high on the curb. And I think we see a dry line forming. The rain's still coming down heavy, so I'm not expecting dry tyres at any point in this race, but we are seeing several drivers have to try and use the wet to cool down these inters and stretch them a bit longer. I think around lap 13, 14 we will see some pit stops onto another set of inters. I'll be surprised if we see anyone take the inters the full way. As Star now closing on the rear of Rio. I think Rio brushed the wall there. As Star now going to try and battle with Rio side by side here through turn 11, and Star around the outside. Can he get it to stick? Rio still holding on to the position here. As Star trying to find the traction. Rio, can he keep it ahead? Oh, still side by side are we here? Through, oh, the middle chicane. Not a place you really want to be going side by side. LWB right on the rear of Rio here. Akko joining the battle as well. And LWB may look to get ahead of Rio as Star finally makes the move stick. As LWB going to try and get on the rear of Rio, but Rio looking on the back of the rear of the Williams as Rio going to pick the outside and try and get round the outside of the Williams driver here. And Star seems to have kept it as Akko on the inside of LWB as well, trying to sneak his way through as Akko picks up a 3-second time penalty after leaving the road there. As Rio going to try and get back through on Star. Star round the outside, or Star covering off the inside as Rio going to try and look around the outside. Looks for the switchback. And can he get round the outside? Clips the rear of Star. They both leave the road as LWB trying to find a way through. Can he sneak through on the inside of his teammate for this evening? And Rio holds on to the position of Star. Trying to defend here as Rio dives around the outside. Star trying to hold it around the outside of the next corner as they come together side by side. Can LWB get through on the inside of both of them? As Rio dives it through on the inside of Star. Major wheel banging here as we exit turn 8. Who can get through? Star fighting off Rio as LWB round the outside gets a better run than Rio, as Star may try and keep Rio by, but he may let LWB through on the outside inadvertently, as Star desperately trying to defend Akko on the outside now, and we're almost 3 wide at Rio. Sends it late. Can I get a camera angle to save my life? As Akko now looking on the inside of Rio as he watches LWB and Star go side by side as they head through the left-hander. And Star seems to have got the move. Still side by side as Rio and Akko. Akko leaves the road yet again. TJ's now joined this battle between these four. And TJ's probably very happy they're all battling hammer and tongue because it's helping his race massively. Star now going defensive down the back straight as LWB on the rear of the Williams, and will he look for a send down into turn 17 on the inside? He looked momentarily, but Star stays ahead of LWB. And what absolute battling! Mallard and Zeno
Absolutely clean.
through turn 17. And Mallard, I think, gets ahead. Zeno going to look back through on the Williams driver. And Mallard stays ahead through turn 1. But sorry I cut you off there, Alfie.
No, all good. I mean, Trixie with the faster lap actually now caught up to Cookie and is starting to apply pressure. Tried sending a move down in turn 1 but wasn't close enough. Definitely going to try and use this extra pace they have found to get past, maybe on the next straight, as they are both, as Cookie has a major ERS gain on Trixie. It's going to be very difficult for him to get the move done on the Red Bull in front.
Meanwhile, Rio charging on the rear of LWB once again. And will Rio look down the inside of LWB into turn 11? Side by side they go, and LWB going to hold it round the outside. And Rio, I think, going to have to wait until out of turn 16 to try and get the move as Zeno and Mallard swapping yet again. And Zeno gets through. I've been seeing some ghosting, and I don't feel like ghosting should be on. I don't know if that's like a visual glitch or not. But ghosting's definitely not supposed to be on.
I think it's just a visual glitch with the car not being loaded, or is it off for griefing? Because the game may think it's griefing then. It's not off for griefing, but yeah. The game does do weird stuff in weird ways. I wouldn't expect anything less from it. Star still keeping LWB with a nice gap behind, just trying to push ahead to catch up to Gordon, who's got a nice gap in front and behind, sitting very comfortably in P4. not really with a worry in the world right now.
And Mallard back down the inside of Zeno. These two been battling ferociously here. Mallard on the inside of Zeno. Zeno still keeping a wheel in, and Mallard round the outside of turn 2 gets that move to stick as Mallard and Zeno battling ferociously here. And it seems every single lap they're swapping positions. Zeno, though, making a little bit of a mistake through the first sector. That invites Berlin onto the rear of the Mercedes driver. And will Berlin look for a late send in a turn 8? Gonna be a bit more patient, look for the exit out of that corner. Meanwhile, you did mention Trixie was making some inroads, but he seems to have dropped back by a second now. Maybe made a little mistake here on trying to get onto the rear of Cookie. But I think we'll be coming close to the pit stop phase if pit stops are going to be made.
Yeah, most definitely. I think maybe one of the VCOMs might try and pitch us to get that maybe a tyre advantage to Zeko. Another 3-second time penalty. The only driver on track to have a time penalty, let alone a second one now. Definitely going to try and make up for those mistakes they've made to get those. And hopefully we'll see no more from them continuing on.
As Cookie sets another fastest lap. Nis closing on Trixie as the gap is almost at 2 seconds between Cookie and Trixie. And will the V-Carbs think about swapping, or will Trixie try and put the hammer down to catch the Red Bull driver? It seems the latter. It seems Trixie has gained half a second already through Sector 1. So it seems like he's just pushing a bit more through Sector 1. And maybe Cookie was just dumping his battery to try and get the fastest lap there. But things seem to have settled down now on lap 12. Although it might get crazy again if there is pit stops on the way. Although you definitely don't want to be the driver who boxes first, because yes, you might get the undercut, but you don't want your tyres to be dead and overheating by the end, especially with this dry line forming. So we'll see what the drivers go for. Is the undercut going to be more powerful, or will the overcut win in the end? And the two teams this is a problem for is probably V-Carb and Ferrari. Both drivers together, so if they are going to pit, they've got to try and work together to plan when they are going to pit. Although, I think Trixie and Nis are probably in a voice channel, but I'm not sure about LWB and Rio, given that they are just teammates momentarily.
Definitely nothing to report on, as Trixie's again falling to around that 2-second gap to Cookie. I think Cookie might be better in these drying conditions, while Trixie definitely had some pace when it was fully wet and there was no dry line. But only time will tell to see if this track does dry by the end. LWB, lots of wheel spin coming out of turn 17 now. Luckily enough, I have a big enough gap on Rio where that doesn't affect them the most, but that has dropped them very far behind from Star now, as Star is beginning to catch Gordon, who has an 11-second gap to the drivers in front of him.
Yeah, and in the background we've got Zeno and Berlin into turn 1. A little bit of contact through turn 1. Zeno is going to hold out the position now. And Zeno almost gets on the curb and spins it, but Berlin unable to take advantage of that. Mercedes really struggling for rear grip. It just seems like the rear stepping out here as Mallard really struggling through Sector 1 as well. And I think we're really getting to that phase where the tyres are dying as Ty gets through on Thory as well. But have the tyres hit their limit? You kind of want to go earliest lap 14, because if you can only take your intros to lap 13, then that means mathematically they won't go the distance as Zeno round the outside of Mallard now down to turn 11. Can the Mercedes outdrag the Williams? Side by side they go, and Zeno round the outside gets the move as Mallard goes a bit wide, almost inviting Berlin through on the inside, but Berlin not able to find some of the inside grip. But Mallard now on the rear of Zeno. But could you see anyone doing a no stop?
I maybe one of the front three, as I've seen no like excess wheel spin or sliding from them. They're looking very calm and comfortable with their inters. As Echo, as I say that, Echo now the first driver to come to the pits.
And he's
2
fixing
poles
his
back into
front
medium.
wing.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good move because pulls the undercut and some of the disadvantage as Zeno gets back through again on... Oh, he actually just protects from Mallard. But I think Echo making the right move there, fixing the front wing, because in these interconditions, you do need that extra front end. As Mallard, in his home Grand Prix, which I would say it's probably his home Grand Prix as well as Mallard, I think is from the East Coast. Although I'm trying to remember where Mallard's from. Is Rio back ahead of LWB? I wonder if it was LWB just letting him through here. As, oh, never mind. LWB taps the rear of Rio Hara, so maybe not. Maybe it wasn't letting him through. But was Rio pushing to try and get the undercut on his teammate for this evening? I think so. I think lap 14 is possibly the best lap to go in if you're trying to undercut. And any later, you may lose some time as Mallard lags out again. And Mallard unfortunately having some connection issues this evening. But I think we may see some drivers into the pit lane now. Will Rio be the next into the pit lane? Surprising to see so many stay out. And Rio staying out, but LWB going to come in. Gordon in as well. As LWB drifts it into the pit lane. Surprised he doesn't get a speeding in the pit lane penalty. TJ next into the pits. As Zeno seems to pull the gap as LWB. Oh, please don't tell me. Oh, Jesus.
Oh no.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
I think it's happened. I think it has happened.
That is not good.
I think it's happened,
Oh,
lads.
he's left. LWB's also left.
It's kicked him. But
Well, world record, fastest lap time. Well done, LWB.
I think it's happened, unfortunately. Oh, no. So, for those of you who are unaware, there's a rare Miami glitch that I thought EA had fixed, but turns out not, where, for whatever reason, I think it's always a Ferrari driver. Sometimes when a Ferrari driver enters the box, it glitches them a lap ahead of everyone, and I think that has happened. LWB's AI is out in P wherever. He's lagged out.
P1, meant to be P12. Meant to be P12 for them. Not what you want to be seeing. Just
Well, LWB, if you can join back in, please do. And unfortunately, I think we're going to finish essentially a lap quicker than we're supposed to. Because of the glitch that I'm pretty sure LWB can't do anything about. As in the background, we've got Gordon and Berlin battling.
Start and Nisev in the pits now as well. Nisev's definitely on the undercut from Cookie and Trixie, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cookie can pull that 50-second gap to LWB. He may be able to. Be really nice to see.
As Nis gets out ahead of Rio. Rio's not yet to box, so that's just the advantage that the V-Carbs had over the Ferrari driver. Nis ahead of Rio, despite Rio not boxing. I'm a bit surprised that was how big the gap was. Meanwhile, LWB's AI. And LWB, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure you can rejoin back, but unfortunately, because the game is bad, we will be finishing a lot quicker than expected. Although he's gone offline, so we'll have to wait for him to rejoin, unfortunately. But in the background, Thori leaves the box just behind Ollie, Bean and Berlin. But now we're going to have to try and work out where LWB actually is on track. I think he's behind TJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, EA are terrible at their jobs. You know,
Yeah,
I complain to so many people about EA, and they wonder why, and this is why. They could not be any worse. Billion-dollar company, by the way, lads. Billion-dollar company. Anywho, the pit stop seemed to have... and TJ's retired, and that's another... Oh, it's a VSC. And TJ has crashed at Hadjar Corner. I'm pretty sure.
Oh no.
He's crashed dodge our corner. I don't know if Ollie Bean will see it in time. No, he's despawned. But a VSC out, and this should help a couple drivers. It's not helped Trixie and Cookie. They've stayed out. They've missed the pit entry. It's helped Rio massively because Rio's getting a free pit stop. So is Zeno. Mallard as well. Ty will get a free pit stop. Ty, oh my god, Ty box you. Oh my lord. I don't know what Ty is doing. Oh, this. Some teams this game make monumental errors, and Ty, that is a massive error. Free VSC pit stop, and Aston are like, nah, I'm not feeling it, lad. I don't want the free pit stop. But as we exit the box, Rio gets out a star. And Rio has the lap. Fresher enters in this battle. Gordon with 2 lap old enters. Rio on fresh enters just ahead of star. And these two were wheel to wheel earlier on in the race. As Berlin gets a drive through, and Aston are having the worst possible day they can have. A star on the rear of Rio Harris. And Rio, is he going to look to defend the Williams driver? Yes, he is. A star around the outside of turn 11. Going to try and get ahead, but Rio defends well. Parks it on the inside of the apex and star. Going to have to be patient on the rear of the Ferrari. As Akko also gets through on Ty. Ty's left the road there after making a little bit of a mistake. Lets through LWB and Akko, as Trixie now into the box, but unfortunately missed his chance the previous lap to get the advantage of the VSC. Star now round the outside of Rio, and it looks like Star's got way more battery to use, as Akko gets a 10-second penalty. I'm not sure why, as Rio dive bombs Star, and Star with a lovely switch back there as Akko. Did he get a 10-second for blue flags, even though he's not lapped? I have a feeling that's what it was. As Rio back down the inside of Star, side by side they go. Star tried to switch back him through the final corner as they're wheel hooking through turn 3. And Star edges out the Ferrari. These two have been wheel banging the whole race, and they're costing each other a lot of time. But for those of you new to the Discord, these two love to battle in the Discord verbally, and now they're out there on the track battling, as well as Berlin gets a 10-second penalty. Akko with another drive through. Berlin retires in the pit lane. Zeno now looking through on Ty, clearing Ty. Really silly that he didn't box under that VSC, and he's just going to fall back further and further. Don't know why he thought it was staying out was an option, really. And Ollie in the ass is going to blow by. Oh, and Ollie in the wall! Ollie, what are we doing?
No!
Ollie lost some brain cells there and decided the wall was going to be the way to go. And Ollie into P10, but he's back in the wall again. Ollie, I think, has given up for the day. He just keeps hitting the outside wall for whatever reason. He's on the rear of Zeno and has a chance to get into P9 here, but he just keeps hitting the wall for whatever reason. But anywho, Cookie back out in the lead. I know it says he's a lap down, but he isn't really. That's the unfortunate Miami glitch that has returned here this evening. But thankfully, everyone's got big enough gaps that it's not really a big problem. I'm pretty sure the only issue will be that we finish a lap quicker than we would have liked. But not much we can do, really. LWB pulling... What?
I think he's trying to let everybody unlap themselves, just so he can fall back to his natural position. Maybe what he's trying to do. Definitely back in. But that's what Echo got his 10-second for. Echo got 10-second for blue flags while he overtook LWB.
This is a really... I think you're right. That is a really interesting thing. LWB is actually going to try and fix the game so the stewards don't have to and allow people to unlap himself, although I think we're going to have to try and count it for essentially where he was, so he's going to do a lot of stopping, because I'm pretty sure he was battling with the likes of maybe Akko?
Rio. It was Rio and Star, and then when he disconnected, he came up behind Echo. That's No, you can't. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think he needs to. LWB, if you're listening, I think you have to give up positions until you're down to the rear of Echo, and then that's it fixed. So, unfortunately, LWB, who could have accidentally won this race, I mean, we as the stewards would have just fixed it, but LWB being nicer and is gonna try and let everyone through. Although he's gonna do a lot of slowing down. I think if LWB is smart, what he'll do is he'll just pretty much stop out of this corner and go along the the back straight at 1 mile an hour. Although he doesn't really want to do that. But LWB may try and let through a bunch of drivers until the leaders catch, but he's going to do a lot of slowing for that to happen. He's 40 seconds down the road, so he's going to have to let through a serious amount of people here. It's a weird thing in the race that you're going to have to you have to let through so many people just to resume your position. As Ty onto the mediums. Dear me, Aston Martin have had the worst evening I've ever seen them have.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, LWB is going to wait about a minute just to let a minute 7 seconds to let Echo catch up. He's going to have to do a lot of waiting, and you can see him now just parked on the main straight, letting Cookie re-overtake. As I said, Cookie would catch back up. My prediction is correct. Might need to get paid out.
Yeah, and LWB still has to let through around half the field to get back to where he was. And it's very nice of him to do. But I don't know if I could do this. He's having to do so much waiting to let everyone through who was a lap behind him. And I think it just kind of depends where he exited the box. That's where his natural position should be. Although, at the same time, this is costing him a lot of race time because he's having to wait so long. LWB, if you're listening, please park it on the circuit, because the quicker people unlap themselves, the quicker you can get back to racing speed and overtake them again. So,
Echo.
LWB.
Going soon. Echo is catching up. He's very close now, Echo.
Yeah, he's letting through Rio, and Echo is closing in shortly. And if LWB is smart, he'll let him through and then get right back on the rear of him. And here it is, LWB now on the throttle, possibly give him too much of an advantage, as Zeno now on the rear of LWB. But LWB finally now here on lap 21 can finally get going again. Unfortunately, a game glitch kind of screwed him. Honestly, if I were LWB, I would have just kept driving and let the stewards deal with it, but nice of him to essentially fix the issue himself, to give us less of a headache, but it has cost him a lot of race time now. He's down to P8, and considering where he was, but Star now on the rear of Gordon. Gordon trying to fight for his best result of the season in P4, as Star wants to limit the damage done by the V-Carbs and Cookie here today and get P4. These two used to be Mercedes teammates back in WHF Season 4, and both were fighting for the title back then. And now, here in Season 7, battling once again. Meanwhile, LWB has caught rapidly to Echo. Wow, that was 2 seconds in a lap. As Echo, big mistake through the first sector here. And those inters really, really struggling. He cannot get it turned in at all. He has had about 7 bites through the long left-hander there of turn 6, 7 and 8. And now LWB, as we charge down to turn 11, can LWB go for the move on the McLaren? Just backs out of it. Thinking about ascend, as Echo now desperately trying to defend, but it seems that Seems like it'll be inevitable that LWB gets ahead of Echo here, who's really struggling under these conditions. And the Ferrari now back on the throttle. And can he get ahead of the McLaren, who definitely struggling at this stage of the race as LWB pulls to the inside, and it might be an easy move for the Ferrari as he gets through on Echo. As Echo now, his worry is probably Zeno behind the debutant for Mercedes, although Echo back around the outside again of LWB, almost got the move to stick out of turn 17, but gonna have to back out again here. Meanwhile, if we look back up the lead, Cookie 5 seconds out in front, has the best tyres of anyone, and looks like he may win his home Grand Prix here and try and close in the championship. He's got to avoid any silly pens, because if a late safety car does come out, he doesn't want it to cost him like it did in Bahrain last time out. Meanwhile, the V-Carbs may battle here in Nice ahead of his teammate Trixie. The undercut worked for Nice, but will Trixie want to get back ahead to help limit the damage done by Cookie on his championship lead here, and also extend the gap over Star as well, who's still battling with Gordon. Gordon doing well to defend, but the Williams right over the rear of the Sauber. And can Star look for a move? He's right on the gearbox of JG. Can he get the exit? It seems Gordon has got a better exit out of turn 16. And Star definitely quicker through the slow corners, but on the straights, JG has the straight line speed to help to defend there. Meanwhile, LWB is on 2 laps older tyres than Rio, but is slowly catching his Ferrari teammate for this evening, could salvage a P6, which I'm sure he'll take after his annoying glitch. Meanwhile, Trixie on the rear of Nis, and will Trixie look for the move into turn 11? And Trixie dives it on the inside of Nis. Side by side they go as Alfie has left the session. We'll get you back in soon, Alfie, as Trixie round the outside. Can he get through on Nis? And yes, he does, as Nis is going to have to wait in behind as Trixie gets through. And we'll try and get Alfie back into the lobby, as unfortunately we've been riddled with issues so far this evening, as Gordon stays ahead of Star. Nis back on the rear of Trixie, as we've got an Aston being blue flagged to tie clear on the mediums, as Nis looking round the outside of Trixie, as Trixie defending here. And I think the V-Carbs are just going to battle to see who can get P2 in this race here in Miami, as Echo gets a 10-second corner cutting penalty while battling with Zeno, and Zeno into the rear of Echo. And Echo getting so many pens this race, I'm not quite sure why. He's got damage on the front left of that McLaren, and Echo has had a nightmare evening so far.
I think that's Echo with 19 seconds of penalties now. He will get that first 10-second removed from those blue flags, as with that glitch with LWB, but I don't think those other 19 will be taken away, so that'll be a big gap left to pull off if he wants to secure just a few extra points for the team.
He's back into the pit lane as well to fix his front wing, as in the background we've got Ollie Bean and Thory battling here. Ollie Bean does have a penalty, but Thory putting pressure on Thory here. And Echo will exit down in P13 with only a handful of laps to go. And can Echo do any recovery drive? Although if we have a look at his penalty situation, still has 19 seconds. So it seems like Echo may finish at best P13. Meanwhile, Ty, still don't know why he's out there on the mediums, but hey ho, he's his own man. Nis tapping the wall as he follows Trixie, Star back on the rear. Gordon going to try and defend the inside. Can Star put a move on the Sauber driver? It seems Gordon defending well here. And can Gordon keep Star behind? Star may look for a send into turn 1. Gordon just seems to be pulling the gap crucially where he needs to. Gordon driving very well to defend from P2 in the championship currently. And this could be big improvements for us. Akko's got another 10-second penalty. Did he hit the wall again? He did. He's hit the wall in the exact same place and damaged his front wing again in the exact same place. Anyway, Star back on the rear of Gordon. Sneaks on the inside, turn 8. Side by side they go. And Gordon just parking it exactly where he needs to. Star now trying to pull ahead of the Sauber. But I think Gordon's got a lot lower wings here, because Star just down in these straights cannot get anywhere near. And if I were Akko, I'd worry just about the fastest lap at this point. And also not getting overtaken by Ty, who's on the mediums, which would be a bit of a feat. Star clips the wall on the inside there of turn 15. That's where we've seen Akko lose his front wing 2 laps in a row, and Star almost out of the race there as he tries to close the rear of Gordon. And Gordon just defending masterfully here. If I were Star, I would just try and recharge the battery and do a 1 full send lap. But yeah, you can charge the battery so much, but you need to be close enough to make a move happen in the first place. But Gordon is playing this beautifully, as well as Cookie, who may look to pick up another win this season. And it's too late for a safety car now, so as long as Cookie doesn't make a massive error, he should have victory. Meanwhile, Ferrari looking at a P6 and a P7 currently, with LWB trying to gain as Star picks up a penalty, and that surely hands Gordon a P4 by the end of this race. Gordon doesn't have to worry too much about losing it on track. And I'm sure Star very frustrated, stuck behind the Sauber driver. And Gordon having definitely the race of his season. Meanwhile, in the background of LWB trying to catch Rio Harris. Rio's got 2 laps fresher inters to help him, although LWB not dealing with what Rio's dealing with, which is his first race on. No line as LWB goes super deep into turn 11. Seemed to miss his braking point there entirely.
That was very unlucky there from LWB. Still trying his hardest to catch up. Now with Star looking to try and get that. I think that's blue flags. Yeah, I need to open my eyes a bit more and realise what drivers are around with blue flags on Ty. I'm still surprised Ty pit for the medium. Definitely a fun little strategy.
You know, if he had have pit for inters 5 laps ago, he'd been ahead of Akko. So I don't really know what he's doing. It's just giving up points.
Might be an AI, to be honest. He's giving up, and he's like, he might.
Oh, and LWB locks down the inside of Rio, but unable to make the move. And I don't think he is an AI, because he's at least pulling off the racing line to let people through. So, or maybe he goes out of AI once he realizes someone's close enough behind him. But either way, seems like the battle for P4 is done with Star's penalty. Meanwhile, LWB still on the rear of Rio Harris on the penultimate lap here. LWB can still snatch a point for himself in the championship. And on the rear of Rio Harris, can he get the charge down to turn 11? He's catching the rear of his teammate. And will LWB look on the inside of Rio as they're going to go side by side into turn 11? Rio going to try and outbrake LWB. Side by side they go, and Rio keeps it round the outside. Pixel perfect as Rio just about keeps ahead of LWB as Cookie sets another fastest lap to surely secure maximum points here in Miami. As Rio almost losing it out of turn 16. Ollie Bean with another penalty, which will cement his P12 as a yellow flag out for a Haas driver that is letting Cookie through. As LWB still follows Rio along, but can Rio keep ahead of his Ferrari teammate? Final lap we head on to now, and Rio still keeping LWB at bay as Tai gets a 10-second. What is he doing now? Tai with a 10-second spinning the pit lane penalty, and I don't know really why he's doing what he's doing, but hey ho. But we'll keep an eye on this battle. Yellow flag out. I think that's for Ollie Bean letting through cars, or maybe he spun into the wall. That's probably more what's happened with the front wing gone. But it seemed P12 was on the cards, and now he's giving it up to Akko, although Akko has loads of pens, so maybe that might cost him. As Ollie Bean cuts the corner, gives himself a 10-second penalty, and that was very silly. As LWB still unable to get ahead of Rio, but Cookie will cross the line and win here in Miami ahead of Trixie and Nis. Absolute dominant victory yet again for the Red Bull drivers. He closes in the championship to the championship leader Trixie as Nis spins across the line. Akko finishes a lap down, and Gordon will hold on to P4, but in the background we got LWB on the rear of Rio Harris. Could we still have a battle for P6 on the cards? Will LWB look down the inside of Rio Harris? And can he stick the move as Rio breaks round the outside and he turns in? And can Rio make it stick? Is LWB going to try and find the traction? As on traction, can LWB make it stick? And he has! LWB gets through on Rio Harris and gets P6 at the death. Rio tried to hold it round the outside, but a terrific overtake from LWB to get P6 here. As Zeno on debut gets P8. Ollie in P9 for Haas as he misses his teammate. Next it's Mollard across the line ahead of Thori. Has several lapped cars there across the line. Mollard crosses it just ahead of Thori. Or just ahead of Tai actually. Tai was a further lap down. Didn't realise that. As Thori will be next across the line here in P11. But what a race that was.
Very entertaining race. I mean, as Ollie was just screaming at you in the chat, he did get a puncture on that final lap, so that is probably the reason why he's gone slamming into the walls and taking that penalty. But definitely shows how bad tyre is around Miami after 14 laps on intermediate puncture. Definitely something that is unexpected to see.
Yeah, and Cookie wins again here in Miami. And we'll look to close the star in the championship. We'll do some math after the stream to see has he regained P2. I think the gap was still quite big. Meanwhile, Trixie will keep his championship lead. But can Cookie now mount his title charge with still another half of the season to go? As driver of the day goes to Zeno on debut for Mercedes. Cookie with the fastest lap. Is that right? Over a second quicker than everyone else? Deary me. Deary me, that's a quick lap. But an absolute great watch. Alfie will head into the Tier 1 interviews channel to interview some drivers. As we'll try and get some drivers to join us here. As we'll try and get the podium in here. We first got Rio Harris, who done his no-line race, battled with LWB to the very end there, unfortunately lost out by a 10th to the Ferrari driver. But Rio, how'd that race go for you?
It was actually quite fun. Probably the happiest I'm going to be with a P7. It was very fun battling, especially with Star. Probably the most fun I've had battling on this game in a long time. So yeah, it was just for constant wheel to wheel, and I'm surprised I didn't rear end anyone.
Well, you did well despite that. Was that one of your first no line races, or?
My first time on no line in Miami, yes. Not it's my uh, seventh race in no line.
Well, you did well. Thankfully, you didn't take anyone out. We did see you go deep at turn one once and got switched back by Gordon. I
Don't
think
talk
it
about
was.
that. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Don't know about it.
Gordon put you on a poster, broke your ankles, broke your axles, and whatever you want to say.
I mean, you'll be happy with Summit. Ferrari finished 6th and 7th.
Yeah. No one say it. No one say it. And of course, Cookie had to say it. And now that that's so loud. Anyway, we'll move on to Cookie, who won in his home Grand Prix. Cookie, how'd that race go for you?
Wait, I didn't catch your question. What'd you say?
How'd the race go?
It was good. A little stressful for the first 10 or so laps, but I think once I managed to get a couple seconds, I was able to just drive away a little bit. Yeah, those inters are burning up though. Then my rears are orange a little bit on the after you got out of the second sector, but it was good. I think I had a good wet setup. I was running a little higher wings than I was anticipating, but I didn't anticipate a full wet race. I think I was still lower than Trixie at least, because Trixie was absolutely like molesting me in the corners. But yeah, it was good.
Well, congrats again on the win, and I don't know if you catch Star as of yet, but you've definitely closed up a bit to Star and Trixie in the championship. But as we head to, where are we again to next week? We head to Qatar. Is that one of your favourite tracks?
I've heard from the rumor news. I don't know the name of it. I've heard rumors that Nasev is really good there. I'm not good at Qatar, unfortunately. But I'm just, hopefully I'm better than Trixie. But I don't know if I'll beat Nasev.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But congrats on the victory anyway, Cookie.
Thank you very much. Love you.
Love you. And we'll move on to Nis, who got P3 in that race. Nis, how'd that race go for you?
It went well, you'd say. I'm just bad in the wet in general. I just burned through tires like a maniac. Yeah, P3 max that I could do today, I would say.
Yeah, we did see you battling with Trixie, and we thought at some points that either of you might let each other through, but it just didn't seem like that was that type of race. You were both battling each other hard. Did you think at any point you could hold off Trixie?
No, he just had too much pace on me. I was just gonna see how far I could go before he went past, and if he was on my side, I would just brake early and let him through.
Well, still a good podium, and I think you do at least close to Star. Star finished P5, so you will close to him a little bit in the championship. But I was mentioning earlier in the stream where last season you had 5 wins, and we're yet to see, I think, any wins this season. But there's only 6 rounds remaining, so I'm guessing you're going to win the last 5 races and do a major championship comeback. Is that true?
If I have a major lock-in, maybe. Is that gonna happen? No.
Well, hopefully you can this, but at least you're back on the podium here in Miami, and hopefully in Qatar, like Cookie said, we can at least see you get your first win of the season, because we missed you at the top step of the podium.
Yeah. But I might not actually do Qatar because it's party day in Norway, so yeah.
Well,
I might be a bit drunk when I come home.
Well, how about you do the race and then everyone at the party celebrates your win even harder, so, even more reason to celebrate, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Let's do that then.
Well, that sounds like a plan, this, but congrats on the podium anyway.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to Star, who got P5, frustratingly caught behind JG, who was able to defend very well. But Star, how'd your race go?
Pretty bad. Did not take the right setup. Clearly, with whatever Cookie was running and whatever Gordon was running was better. I really thought I could. I found a good overtaking opportunity at the end of Sector 1. I got a couple of people in the first few laps, but yeah, then just a straight shot 1v1. It's quite hard to follow when I was running such high wing. So yeah, I couldn't stay close enough to Gordon to send it. I had one opportunity and I threw it away. So fair play to him. He's not been very close to this game cycle entirely to the top, and yeah, he's done very well.
Well, nonetheless, congrats on P5, and as we head to Qatar, is Qatar one of your favourites?
No, it's one of my most hated, and it's the Spa 6 hour week, so I will not be there.
Ah. Well, we will miss you, Star, unfortunately, but hopefully you get on well at Spa. We will be cheering you on for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll move on to LWB, who got P6 at the very final lap, out of the final corner. Brilliant move on Rio Harris. LWB, how'd that race go for you?
It was interesting, that's for sure. Leading the race by 50-something seconds was fun. The little bit I did it. But yeah, interesting.
And as you battled with Rio to the end there, how was that battle?
I didn't think I was going to get him. But on my screen, no one had any front wings or anything, so I don't really know what's going on with that. So I didn't think I was going to get him at all. I thought he had way more battery than me. But then I just got alongside in last corner and floored on the exit and hope for the best.
Well, it was a very good move, and I'm sure Rio is shaking his fist in at that move, but still a very good move, and congrats on the P6. We did interview Rio, but if you Rio, you do want to chat again about that last lap overtake, although I think he's deafened, so I don't even think he can hear us. So we'll move on to, let's see who's here. I think Echo's the only driver left. Now, Echo, I would like to say you had the worst race possible, but somehow both Aston Martins had even worse races than you. So I know you're going to say it's bad, but genuinely somehow the Astons had an even worse time than you. But how'd that race go for you?
Depressing.
And you know what, I think that sums it up very well. We did see get a plethora of 10-second penalties. What was happening there?
Well, with the penalties, I got one 10-second penalty, I think it was when LWB, it said he was leading the race by like 50 seconds, but he wasn't. So obviously it's told me blue flag, let him overtake, and I knew that he wasn't in P1, so I obviously wanted to keep the position. I've got the clip, so it gave me a 10-second penalty for that, for ignoring blue flags. And then I think I got one from just track limits. I kept on hitting the wall up in Sector 2, up the hill. So yeah, it just wasn't the best of race for me. At the start I had solid pace, but ever since after that safety car restart, it just went to shit.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't seem to be your race. I think even on lap 1 you picked up early damage.
Yeah, like slight damage from, I think it was one of the Aston Martin drivers. I don't know what happened to cause that safety car, because I was brushed up pretty much against the wall. So I generally don't know how he slid or crashed to cause the safety car.
Yeah, I think it was Berlin had hit someone's rear and then spun into the wall. That's what brought the first safety car out. But an unlucky race, Echo, just didn't seem to go away. But hopefully in Qatar, is that one of your favourite tracks?
It's a decent track for me, yeah, but I think tyre wear might be a problem next weekend. So we'll just have to see what happens and see what it brings.
Well, hopefully Qatar can be a fun one, but we'll wait and see. I think that is everyone interviewed. Alfie, do you have any final thoughts to add or any questions to ask?
No, not really. I mean, it's definitely, just watching the race, definitely was very entertaining, seeing drivers flying around and seeing how unlucky people got. That lap 1 safety car was a multitude of incidents. I know Ollie, who's in here right now, got caught up with, I think it's Neo in the Mercedes. I know he lost his entire front wing there, which kind of forced him to immediately pit. But it's definitely one race where some drivers will want to run, but some drivers will not want to, and just have to be on to the next week, no matter where you finished.
And thank you for pointing that out, because I just realised Ollie just joined us. Ollie, how'd your race go?
Lap 1, Ty Clear and the Mercedes were battling. I was on the inside of it. It was that tricky left-hander. They locked wheels, and I unfortunately got collected and got put straight into the wall. That called out the safety car. And yeah, I just kind of had like a nothing race for the rest of it until the last few laps. I wasn't letting Cookie through. I got a puncture in the S's and went flying into the wall. I was actually really surprised that I didn't really pick up major damage from that. But yeah, it was just a struggle to bring it home with no rear right tyre. So yeah, it was stressful.
Well, at least you give it your best shot in Tier 1, and you did pick up some points for Haas, so I'm sure Alfie is happy that he's got some points on the board. But thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes?
Ollie, is this going to be part 482 of your crash out?
No, I didn't record this one.
Ah, fuck.
I'm sorry, I didn't record it.
Devastation.
But did you?
I was crashing out though.
Oh, you did. You did actually crash out. It's funny.
I did, yeah.
I was thinking
Recreate
because
it.
you were so far back, you were just going to be fine with it, but no, crash out still happened.
Yeah, I'm just alone in my room, just screaming at the TV. It's
Man
that's
shouts at wall.
Yep, pretty much.
But anyway, thank you all for joining for the interviews. Thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, this has been Tubby Chap Tier 1 Round 6. Cookie wins again. Trixie keeps his championship lead in P2, and this in P3 on the podium once again, as we'll find someone to raid out, and we're going to raid Kareem, so make sure to follow Kareem on your way out. But thank you all for watching. You've been joined by Alfie and me, WHFO, and we'll see you all next week for Tier 1 Qatar. Thank you all, and goodbye.